What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from The Quartering, and I know that this topic might not appeal to the majority of my audience. I covered this situation yesterday, and the response was lukewarm, although perhaps YouTube was making sure that not everyone saw it. What's going on right now, right in front of the American people, is social media collusion to influence the election, in my opinion. What we've seen is in the last 24 hours, Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube all announce or enact major changes to restrict certain types of content. In particular, Twitter and Facebook clearly choosing a side in terms of suppressing a particular type of information. Yesterday, a document was obtained. Many documents were obtained by the New York Post, and they were published. Twitter blocked that article. Twitter blocked people from sharing the article. Twitter blocked people from sending the article to each other in DMs, locking the press secretary of the United States Twitter account, blocking government websites. Now, Twitter, for example, and Facebook both enjoy protection under Section 230, which, oversimplified, I will explain. While I explain, please make sure you hit that red subscribe button down below. Even if you're not interested in all this, I am giving away an Xbox Series X to subscribers in about a week, so follow the link in the pinned comment to learn that, or just subscribe so you can stay up to date on this. Section 230 essentially says that part of it is that platforms are not responsible for what's posted on them because the people that post it are such. Platforms are not publishers. They are just a park for people to play in, and what those people do there is not the responsibility of the platform. This affords them numerous lawsuits, and or worse in some cases. However, it is my opinion, and the opinion of many people, that they are publishers now. When they are actively interfering in information, in the flow of information, hypocritically, I might add, they are no longer platforms. They are, in fact, publishers. Now, Twitter came out yesterday and said, well, the reason we blocked this article was because these emails, this information, was obtained through hacking. Except it wasn't. From what I can understand, the information that was covered, the scandalous information, is that this information was obtained via a laptop that was abandoned. That this individual didn't pay a bill at some computer repair shop, or maybe they just didn't care, and that laptop became the property of that place. It's just like if you have a car dealership, you can have an auto shop lien on a car. If you don't pay your bill to fix your car, then they take ownership of said car. In similar case now with this hard drive, right? This was not hacked material. It was the property of the computer repair shop, and then they took their property and sent it to Rudy Giuliani, I believe, or his lawyer or something like that. So YouTube or Twitter lied about that. In addition to that, Twitter had zero problems publishing audio recordings of the First Lady being secretly recorded, then obtained and released without her permission. They were published on Twitter and trended nationwide for days. In a word, Twitter is full of it. Tim Pool points out, the New York Times posted key details, hard numbers from Trump's taxes without authorization, in clear violation of the same policy. They did not censor anything about it. This, of course, responds to Twitter's ridiculous claim that the reason they censored this is because they have a policy against promoting hacked materials or content obtained without authorization. We don't want to incentivize hacking by allowing Twitter to be used as a distribution for possibly bad faith obtained materials. But you had no problem with Melania Trump's audio tapes. You had no problem. Look, I know I have a lot of Joe Biden viewers that watch me, okay, fans. I'm telling you, this is not partisan. I'm just saying, do you think that if Donald Trump's emails from 5 years ago not only were leaked, but also showed potential like government collusion, do you think that Twitter would have suppressed that? Twitter had no problem with the Russian the Steele dossier, which was a complete fabrication. They had no problem letting that trend for days. If you look at the hashtag briefly, hashtag Twitter censorship was trending today. Every time I refresh, it's there, and then it's not there. Steven Crowder saying, big tech is trying to, whoops, let's go here. Top, Republican Twitter this week, make up outrageous lies to tip the election, face the consequences, help, I'm being repressed. What do you mean? Like, these emails exist. What is it? Where's the lie? Even if there's nothing in the email that proves it, okay, let's just say that's true. All right, let's say that's true. People supporting this censorship. Let's say that's true. Still, under what terms of service does Twitter have the right to suppress it? None. Rudy needs a backup suddenly when called up for their lies. They all cry. Twitter censorship. Yeah, okay. Twitter can block whatever it wants. The GOP is free to create their own social media platform. So, again, people dislike Trump so much, and they have every right to, that they will literally back censorship, especially when it comes to our government possibly colluding in foreign affairs. This is all this is people supporting the censorship. Are you crazy? I mean, and all these people are Biden voters flooding the timeline with this. It's pure insanity. Imagine standing. Yeah, Twitter stock's not that bad, but it's 5 days. It hasn't been going very good, has it? How about this? Just saw for myself behind the scenes look at the hard drive. All sorts of terrible things. Why aren't these public? You're talking about the possible connection. Now, if you can convince me that there's absolutely no connection to Joe Biden, then I agree that it's not really important. That said, it still doesn't violate Twitter's terms of service. Now, Twitter CEO Jack Dorsey will be subpoenaed to testify before Congress after censorship scandal. It's too late. The Republicans waited too long, and the Democrats should have cared, but they don't. Why? Because the censorship favors what they want. I can't describe this to people who don't have an open mind, right? This isn't me defending Republicans. This is me defending or fighting against censorship. The Democrats should be doing this too. Both sides of the aisle should be working together to recalculate or relook at Section 230 protections. But the Democrats don't have any incentive to do that because it benefits them. Senator Ted Cruz announced on Thursday that Jack Dorsey, Twitter CEO, will be subpoenaed to testify before the Senate next week. At issue is Twitter continuing to block shares of stories concerning corruption on part of the Democratic presidential nominee Joe Biden, which Cruz calls election interference. Quote, this morning the story escalated and got even worse, Cruz said. The New York Post broke a second story, a series of emails that indicate even more corruption. In this instance, the Biden family receiving millions of dollars from communist China government officials. Quote, just minutes ago, I tried to share that story on Twitter, and Twitter is actively blocking right now, this instant, stories from the New York Post alleging corruption in the Biden family receiving millions of dollars from the CCP. Quote, "This is election interference, and we are 19 days away from an election. It has no precedent in the history of democracy. The Senate judiciary community wants to know what the heck's going on. Chairman Lindsey Graham and I have discussed this at length, and the committee today will be noticing a markup on Tuesday to ensure a subpoena to Jack Dorsey, the CEO of Twitter, to testify before Senate Judiciary Committee next Friday, to come before this committee and the American people and explain why Twitter is using their corporate power to silence the press and cover up corruption. Let me be clear. I don't know if these New York Post stories are true or not. Those are questions the Vice President Biden should answer. But Twitter and Facebook and big tech billionaires don't get to censor political speech and actively interfere in the election. That's what they're doing right now. I 100% agree with Ted Cruz on this. Right before, hey, if you haven't already, sign up for Parler. Try Parler out if you haven't. There's a lot of people there. I have 53,000 followers on Parler. In like just 2 or 3 months, I have almost as many followers on Parler as I do on Twitter. There's a lot of people on Parler, and at least right now, they're not engaging in this kind of stuff. Like, I don't want Parler to be just a bunch of conservatives and right-wing people. I want it to be everybody. I want it to give Twitter a run for its money. So that's why I'm there. I consider myself a relative normie, politically speaking. I just hate censorship. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please help share it. We'll talk to you again real soon.